Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Thursday Club episode 17. Officially, it's silly season, so transfer season. Half the world is moving to Saudi, and deep down we're all sweating about those red crosses coming up. Today we're talking about transfers and those that we think are going to go boom or bust. So basically, are your players' scores going to go up or down on Sorare? We're one man down today, but the show must go on. And beside me, I have the ever dependable king of the toffees himself, Dornado. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Still enjoying the Everton free time that I'm having. Although every day seems to be a bit of a circus on Everton Twitter. We've sacked 3 of our board members yesterday. Bill Kenwright, our chairman, is hanging on by a thread. It's all going on. People are kicking off. So anyway, it's all fun. It's all fun and games.
What does it mean? I honestly don't understand why have the board been sacked and Kenwright gone? What's like? Or no, he's not even gone yet, is he? Like, what's actually going on?
It's the team. The club has been run horrifically for definitely for about 6-7 years, basically since Mashiri came in, the owner. But Bill Kenwright has been there since '96, I think, and it's been the most unsuccessful time in Everton's entire history. And we've wanted him out for a long time. Back in like the early 2000s, we were trying to get rid of him, and he sort of just mellowed out a bit as we had Moyes, and they sort of let him off a bit. And then it's the last few years, like some awful transfer decisions, financial fair play, like screwing us over due to bad decisions, and then 2 relegation battles in a row. Like you can't be happy with that. Like you just can't be happy with that. And he does my head in, Bill Kenwright. He loves himself. He absolutely loves himself. Anyway, at least stuff's starting to happen, and we hopefully get some new investments soon. So things are looking up-ish.
So we've done what we always do, and I ask you how you're doing, and instead of telling me how you're really doing, you just talk about Everton.
That's a very good point.
Although, to be fair, Everton does correlate with how you're doing.
It really does. I hate how much it affects me, but it really does. But yeah, other than that,
new season coming up, mate. New season.
Other than that, it's my little boy's 6-month birthday today. So
yay! Happy birthday, Raw.
Yeah, top man. Yeah, there we go.
Nice. And so we're talking summer transfer season. Have you been impacted by this yet? Have you had any red crosses appear or anyone go anywhere that's caused them, you think, to boom or potentially bust?
I've had a few small transfers off the top of my head. I can't remember who, but there's been a few little transfers. Nothing too major. I haven't had any red crosses that I've seen of yet. A lot of the time, they just sort of spring up on me when I'm looking down my gallery. I'm like, oh, crap, what's happened there? I know I've got a few from players that got released during the season, like Bruno Perez from Trabzonspor, who was really good. Like, he was at Roma, was doing all right, I thought, at Trabzonspor. But then I remembered that real life football isn't necessarily correlated to Sorare scores. And he got injured as well. So he was released. And then you got Mario Fernandez as well, who used to be my true love.
You loved him, didn't you? Yeah.
USK. His AA game was just insane. And then I don't know what happened with him. I think he left due to the war a little bit, and then went to Internacional in Brazil, and then didn't play a game. And now he's gone back to Russia again. But now CSK owe Internacional loads of money. So he's just sat there with a red cross, not playing anything.
Oh, mate, that's painful.
Yeah, nothing too major, I don't think. But I'm sure something will rear up in the next month or so. How about yourself?
Well, I've got a small squad, haven't I? I've got I'm only really focusing on my Reds at the minute. So I've got 28 of them. There's 2 players that have kind of benefited, I guess, over this period. One's American, plays in the MLS. That's Reynoso. I mean, it's not even a transfer, but he's actually come back from Argentina and turned up and is playing again. So that's a massive one for me, because that goes from being like a dead card effectively. He at one point maybe going to prison, to now he's a stud midfielder in the MLS. So
he's got some serious potential as well, isn't he? Like, his scores are very good.
He is boom or bust me, because he is going to either be one of the best in the MLS this season because he's got a point to prove, or he will get in shit again and end up back in Argentina. I don't know, but
or he get killed by a drive-by or something.
Yeah, and genuinely, if that happened, I wouldn't be surprised. Like his life is mental. It's like a movie. So yeah, Reno's the one, and Peacock Farrell, who I picked up at the end of the season with transfers in mind. He hasn't gone yet, but he's been heavily linked with Sheffield Wednesday, where he was on loan 2 seasons ago, and obviously they've just gone promoted to the Championship. I picked him up at the end of the season because I'm pretty confident he was going to leave Burnley and play. He's playing this week for Northern Ireland, which is another reason I did it. But yeah, I'm pretty confident he moves. They're also looking at other goalkeepers at Burnley. They're looking at Bart Verbruggen to challenge potentially Muric. So it would make zero sense for him to stay there. But
it's a bit of a weird one. I can definitely see him leaving. Like you say, Burnley are clearly sort of in the market for a keeper, so they kind of probably know something's in the pipeline with needing a second keeper. Although I did see that Van Bruggen guy got linked to Brighton as well, didn't he? I don't know what's.
Yeah.
He's obviously
and Man United.
And Man United, was it? I missed that one.
Yeah. He's pretty coveted at the minute. I don't know how good he is. Like, I know he's good on Sorare and he's had a breakthrough, but I don't know how good he is. I guess you could see him. Someone like United, maybe they pick him up and then De Gea stays and then De Gea is phased out next season. I don't know. But yeah.
What's the deal with English keeper at United? I've forgotten his bloody name now. Forest.
Christ, I know you mean Henderson.
Yeah, what's going on there? Because he's still on loan, right, from United.
He was on loan from United at Forest, but then Forest sacked him off on the bench. I don't know if he got injured or they just
he got badly injured, and then they got
Kayla Navas in.
Literally, my memory since having a baby is just completely shot.
Scary, isn't it?
But no, like Henderson, surely is he not like worth giving a go?
They haven't even referenced him, so I'm thinking not. I don't know if he's any good with his feet, and obviously that's important to Ten Hag. I think it's pretty much set that he's going to go. I guess maybe Forest will take him again.
Yeah, I did see it. I did see that they wanted to sign him permanently. I think Navas is old, isn't he?
He's got to be off, hasn't he?
I'm not sure he's saying, is he? I think he's going to be a free agent.
I haven't even looked into Henderson. That's quite a good shout. I don't know if he's expensive or not, but yeah, there's probably potential there. It's probably definitely worth a look at that one. Yeah. But yeah, so I guess neither of us have had anything truly impactful to date then.
I've just remembered one, actually. I've remembered one that I saw yesterday and I'd forgotten about. Joris Kayembe, who is my centre mid from Charleroi in Belgium, has joined Genk, which could be a very good move because obviously Genk are, one of the top teams.
Yeah, they put up good scores, don't they?
And they do have very good. He's basically a wing back, Kayembe. He's played defender a lot. I've got a midfielder card for him, but he's got defender and midfielder cards, so he's clearly in that sort of middle ground between the two positions. And I know Genk play very attacking football, so fingers crossed that goes well. But yeah, that's a decent move. I didn't see coming.
I'm sure there'll be plenty more, mate. There'll be plenty more. Yeah, so let's move away from this, and as we are rambling, let's go into the official ramble. So voting is the first thing we're going to talk about today. Have you seen Sorare? I don't even know if I'm saying it right. And have you voted? If so,
I have seen it. I got a lot of notifications pop up on Twitter in quick succession about all these different votes I needed to do. I didn't do all of them, but yeah, I think it's a nice little idea. It sort of engages the audience, doesn't it, and gets people to have a little vote, have their say. Whenever I saw a vote that was including any of the players I owned, I went in and showed them support, like Daniel Munoz and Teddy Tuma, or however you pronounce his name.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a nice little idea. I don't know. Do you have a little vote on it?
I have. I went on Twitter, stumbled across it earlier. So for anyone that hasn't seen or doesn't know what we're talking about, effectively Sorare have set up a almost like a end of season awards. So all the Sorare managers and fans can vote for their favourite players or cards. They're called it Sorares, as far as we know. They're going across the main divisions, so Premier League, Bundes, La Liga, Serie A, Eredivisie, and Jupiler Pro. And then it started literally 15th of June. So today was the first day starting with Belgium. And they go for card of the season, under 23 of the season, breakout, most consistent, and the underrated card. I did, as to answer your question, yes, I did vote on it. Teddy Tuma got my vote on his category. Who else did I go for? Maxime de Kuipers was one of the options on the under-23s.
Right, yeah.
What else did we have in there? Gosh, I can't think now. But yeah, I did vote. But to be perfectly honest, I've hardly been. Ueda as a.
Oh yeah, I voted for Ueda just purely because Ricky owns him.
Yeah, we used to own him, and he was brilliant. So I've always kind of followed him. But I'm not big on the Belgium League. I don't think I own any players from it now. So really, it was like just votes for players I've liked historically since 2020 that I might have picked up and flipped.
I was going to say, like, Belgium is kind of like the nostalgic sort of first few months, isn't it? When we all joined the game, and it was just like random Russian players, Belgium. Who else was it? Like MLS in Asia. It was like basically it, wasn't it? And I always remember the Belgian lads.
I like the concept of it though. I think it's a really clever bit of engagement.
I think it's a good idea. Are they going to do like an actual? Kind of feel like they should get the actual players, to do a little like thank you or something, like to really engage.
Someone posted that. Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that, no.
So on the actual main thread, some guy suggested that that's exactly what they should do, and I hadn't thought about it myself, and I was like, that's such a good idea.
I mean, they kind of do stuff. They do like interviews and like they've done a lot of stuff with Dortmund recently, haven't they? With little games, and they got Danny Parejo meeting with what's his name, Nellis.
John Nellis, yeah.
So they clearly have got access to these people. I think it'd be a good idea to.
You know what they should do is, do you remember the old days when you used to have like the prizes that they wanted, the giant checks, like literally this big? Yeah. So they should make a giant Sorare card that they give to them, and then sign up that player and send them an actual NFT. Signed special edition card of player of the season type of thing.
A little frame as well, a little frame, or a massive fridge magnet.
Do you know? Have you still got the link to the fridge magnets? I used to love them.
Yeah, I'll have to look through my Twitter DMs. I think he stopped doing it. I think maybe someone from Sorare told him he couldn't do it. I don't know, but
maybe I lost my Seda Asmoon in our move, so I'm a little bit sad about that.
Mate, someone somewhere in Bristol has found a Sada Asmoon fridge magnet and thought, what the hell is this?
I'm his only fan internationally, I think. he's a wasted man. He's the Iranian Messi.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, right. Next subject. So moving away from the voting, which again I think is great. The free shirts are free. They were giving out again another comp that Sorare have kindly done. Even though actually we're getting lots of complaints about the shirts coming through, which we'll get to. Dornado, you were one of the lucky recipients, weren't you, of this winning prize?
I actually couldn't believe it. So obviously I tried to get the first lot of shirts, which was the non-signed shirts. I was kind of refreshing all day. But I remember that first shirt drop, I was actually in the office in work, so I was really busy. And I'd forgotten about the Central Eastern Time thing, so I was thinking it was going to be around 4 p.m. And it was earlier or something, whatever the Central Eastern Time conversion is. So I missed that one. But then when I saw this other one, 30,000 coins. Luckily, obviously, we've been on the platform a long time, so I had plenty of coins. And I was lucky in the sense that my missus was sick that day, so I had to take a day off work. So I wasn't working, so I was just on my Twitter all day, just refreshing, like on Discord, checking if anyone knew any little hints. And I must have just got there at the perfect time. I don't know, or it could be because I'm a massive influencer.
That's true. I saw that comment actually. I was like, "Wow, is that a?" I couldn't tell if it was like a personal attack or whether it was actually like a compliment.
No, I think it was a joke. But yeah, I managed to get one. So I was absolutely buzzing. I couldn't believe it. So when I refreshed it and it was there, I clicked it thinking like I've just got in, and I had to put all my flipping details in. So like my name, my address, I can't remember what else I had to put. But like I've never typed so manically in my entire life. I kind of just like fucked up my entire address and just left out like Bristol.
That'd be why you haven't received it, mate.
I basically just put my postcode in and just pressed enter and like put any old crap in the other fields. But I gave them my email address, so and they confirmed that it's happened. So I've got one on the way. I'm excited to see who it is, as long as it's not Liverpool.
I'm very excited for you, mate. I've seen people are posting their the unsigned shirts already, and I've seen like Bayern Munich come out, Man City. What else have we had? There's a few random ones in there. Then someone got the Leicester shirt today and was complaining about that. That was what kind of perked my sort of thinking about this topic again. I was like, how can you moan about getting a football shirt for free? It's like, it blows my mind. But it just shows that Sorare will never get it right for everyone.
He literally can't.
It's possible.
I mean, I'd kind of be disappointed if I got a Leicester shirt because they've just got relegated, and also they're in the league that my actual team supports in. But like, I wouldn't go online to flipping moan about it.
It's a free bloody shirt.
I know. That's what I mean. Like,
take it or give it to a Leicester fan who would love it.
Do a giveaway or whatever. But no, I'm very excited to see what it is. I'll do a little. I think when I do get it, I will do a little box reveal on show, and we can all bask in the glory together.
Love it, mate. So, moving away from shirts and now to five-a-side. So, this what in the last month, FC Sorare became what I believe to be, and I'd love to be proven. I'd rather be proven right, but prove me wrong if you can. The first five-a-side football team in the world, made up of Sorare managers, and playing under the banner of FC Sorare. So we've been in the league. That was our
third game, but technically our first league game. So
second.
I think our first league game got called off, didn't it? Because we
had a cup game. Yeah. So we're sitting on 6 points, but we had to play cup games because the first team didn't turn up. So we're in third at the minute, but again, we may be the first and only current FC Sorare going. So technically, we are the most successful as well at this point in time. Third in the league. 6 points, hunting down the pack, and this week was a resounding 25-2 victory.
It was an interesting game, wasn't it? It was 31. Well, it'd been 31 degrees during the day. It obviously wasn't that at 8 p.m, but it was still flipping piping hot. The other team turned up with 5 players for a five-a-side in the hottest day of the year.
Suicide.
Five players that looked very disinterested anyway. Technically we should be saying they're incredible, right? We were just amazing and beating 25-2. But
they were disinterested but amazing, right?
They were very disinterested. They had like one pretty decent player, didn't they? The small lad, and then another lad who was good as well, but quite large. And then three lads that looked like they'd probably never kicked a ball in their entire life. I decided to volunteer myself to go in goal for the first half because our normal goalkeeper, Ricky, was away and our second goalkeeper was away too. And it was probably the most boring 20 minutes of my entire life, just sitting with my shoulders on the handlebars, just watching the rest of the team just score hat-tricks left, right and centre. But I managed to come out in the second half and bag a little double hat-trick myself.
You did, yeah. And, I reckon you've got yourself a smooth 100 there, John, because you didn't have any mistakes either.
I don't think I had any errors led to goals either. Yeah, it was,
no, you saved all those for last week, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
we won't talk about that one.
It was good fun, wasn't it? Like sometimes games like that can be a bit frustrating because the other team just almost gave up. But actually, for us dads, it was a good bit of fun to get out and smash some goals in, wasn't it? I thought.
Oh, it was great, mate. It's got us all back into it, and then like perfect timing. This chap from Sorare Sevens has then gone and posted a summer comp in July. I think when it's July, towards the end of July. Yeah, 29th. That's it, 29th. Up in the Midlands way, where he's inviting I think it's 10 teams of 7 to go on up there and have a bit of a 7-a-side match plus a social, which I think is a great shout.
Oh, like, good, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, and I'm actually really surprised it hasn't happened sooner. I think maybe some of the stuff has probably happened that hasn't maybe gone so mainstream. I don't know. Obviously, there's been a few little clips of people playing five-a-sides at Sorare HQ and stuff.
Yeah, that's all like the influencer stuff. I think this is like what's needed is getting like the general Sorare community and any like an open comp where people can meet social. Like Sonella did a social, which went down really well. We were away, so none of us got there, but I think that's what we like are lacking. There needs to be a bit more of that to like, I don't know, just connect the community. And I like the thing I love about the football element is like Sorare is all about like owning your club and then taking like what you know in the real world into the digital world. That's NFTs. It's almost like going the other way and taking kind of your digital world and digital community into football, like the real world, which I think is amazing, you know, for Sorare in terms of like it's free marketing. So yeah, love it.
I think it's good, and maybe if it's a success, maybe we should do a Bristol version organised by us.
That's a very good idea, actually.
We could do that.
That's a very good idea. Let's see how it goes.
We've got the resources and the manpower. We could maybe have a look at it next year. But anyway, that's for a different show.
That is for a different show, right? So now on to the main section. So we're talking boom or bust transfers, and today we're actually going to focus. We've got a few from the community that we'll talk about at the end, but we're going to focus on building a team of free transfers. So players that are set to leave their club or potentially set to leave their clubs this summer. So contracts ending, and we're going to talk a little bit around where we think they may go, if at all, and what that means to that player in terms of Sorare. So will they boom, will they bust, or will they be business as usual score-wise? So hopefully this kind of gives a little bit of insight into what we're thinking, potential players to pick up, but equally it is silly season. So anyone we reference now, who knows what could happen, especially that Saudi money out there right now. So John, do you want to start with your crew? Do you want to give us a goalkeeper? Maybe we'll go one at a time. So you go goalie, then I'll go goalie.
Yeah, let's go. So I've gone for my man Jed Steer as my goalkeeper. He's someone I have picked up in the last few days. So he's someone I own. Apologies. But I'm not looking to sell him. So I've put my money where my mouth is and I've backed him. So he's leaving Aston Villa, confirmed. He's already had the walk onto the pitch and the farewell at the end of the last game of the season. He's only 30. He's been at Villa for 10 years. So, you know, he's clearly a good player to be there. I think he seemed to leave on really good terms. Villa fans seem to really like him. He did a really good job in the Championship when they came up. Which was, I think, maybe 4 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. He is someone, from my little bit of research on Twitter, I think was potentially offered a new contract and turned it down, which makes me think he must have something in place because he's been there 10 years. He could easily just stay there and earn a big buck and be second, third string goalkeeper there. But yeah, I can definitely see him moving to the Championship. Maybe a really good Championship team. I think he was at Norwich originally before Villa. I know Norwich have obviously got a good keeper now, but it just shows you that he can play at that level clearly. He could maybe go to a Premier League team, someone like a newly promoted team, Luton maybe. I'm not sure of their current keeper status. Was it Ethan Horvath they had?
Yeah, Horvath was on loan, wasn't he?
He's on loan. I
don't think he signed.
Yeah, I think he's on loan.
I can imagine he'll sign for them, though, don't you? I don't know.
I'm not sure if they're actually trying to sign him or not. I don't know what the state of play is there, but I can definitely see Jed Steer going somewhere. He doesn't seem like the sort of person that's going to go to Saudi Arabia, personally.
No.
And he's 30, which is basically like 25 for an outfield player. He's got a lot of years.
Easy 5 years, doesn't he?
Easy 5, yeah. He costs £2.50 for a limited at the moment, which, you know, is certainly worth the risk. Just for limited wise, but I bought his rare. I was actually that last purchase there of £95. I bought him on auction a few days ago. So you're looking at sort of £80 to £100 on auction at the moment for him, which, you know, for a rare keeper, as we know, is is pretty good value and worth the gamble, if you ask me.
Love it, mate. So, John, give us a prediction, because it's quite a difficult one. So, two questions. One, predict where he's going to go.
Yeah.
Two, is he a boom or a bust score-wise next season? Or business as usual?
I think he will go to a championship club. But no, I can see him joining an East Midlands club. I could maybe see him going to Scotland, potentially. Not sure.
Shout. Yeah,
could be a good shout. But yeah, in terms of boom or bust, like if he joins anywhere, he's probably going to be starter. So I'd say he's going to be boom. And you can't get any more bust than having a 0 last 40. So I don't think he's going to bust. He's a boom for me.
I like it, mate. I'm going to give you my opinion as well. So please give me yours or mine. So for me, Jed Steer is definitely a boom. I'm going to try and pick one up. I was trying to decide between him and McCarthy from Southampton the other day. I jumped on McCarthy, but I also want to Steer. And I'd agree with you. I can see him going to Championship. And again, can't even think who's in the Midlands, but it doesn't really matter, doesn't he? He can go anywhere in the Championship and probably do a job. So I think that's a great shout, mate.
Nice.
Right. So I'm going to chuck my goalkeeper on screen. David De Gea probably is going to be one of the, well, he already is and will continue to be one of the hottest topics transfer-wise this summer. So I don't know what your opinion on him is. Well, what is your opinion of him as a keeper, John?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Like, he's sort of had a roller coaster of a time in the Premier League since he joined. Like, I remember when he first joined, he was awful, wasn't he? He was like bullied off the ball. Like people were beating him in the air with headers, and he was like, and then he became literally one of the best keepers I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, he was just like insane. He's still got that about him. Like, he can still make insane saves. And you're like, how the hell does he save that? But he's had a lot of errors creep into his game in the last few seasons, I'd say. I can see from a United perspective, I'd get very frustrated with David De Gea, much like Roy Keane seems to always get with him on
he gets irate, doesn't he?
Yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I was really surprised because I've been so focused on obviously Everton at the bottom of the league. I haven't really been focusing on the top of the league. And when they said like on the last day of the season he needed a clean sheet or whatever to win the Golden Glove, I couldn't believe it. I genuinely just hadn't seen that United had done that well.
Well, you know what it is? It's because when people talk about David De Gea, they jump on him for every mistake he makes. That's generally the only top conversation you would get would be about what had gone wrong for him. I can't remember many weeks where someone was banging on about how amazing he was, or like newspapers writing about him, keeping United in the game.
Yeah,
true. He's had a hard time, really, hasn't he? Like,
he has had a hard time. The problem is once you're in the top league for that long, like your error, people just remember your errors because they just pile up, don't they? I've seen one of his errors firsthand. I was at Goodison Park when he dallied on the ball for ages, and then Calvert-Lewin just ran basically from the halfway line and closed him down. He kicked it straight at Calvert-Lewin and went over the top of De Gea's head into the goal. He just seems to have mental blocks sometimes, but maybe he's just sort of stagnated in United a bit. And a new move. I mean, he's only 32, so
there's not many a more difficult or high pressure job in football than being the Man United keeper. If you think right back from the days of Schmeichel and then all those keepers failing thereafter, probably largely because of that, because they were good keepers to a point. I think De Gea has done his time. He's been brilliant. I think we're reaching a point where he can probably leave and still leave with a great rep in place, having had a bit of pressure. Do I think what I think is going to happen? I think Ten Hag. It wouldn't have got to this point unless Ten Hag seriously been looking at getting someone else in, because he is Golden Glove and he's a great keeper in his own right. So I think that's enough to say they're going to try and replace him or he's on his way out. Where's he going to go? I mean, I've actually seen rumours of him going to Saudi, which is pretty yeah, that's a little bit scary, isn't it?
You can strike me as the sort of person that would go to Saudi Arabia. I don't know.
I can't see it. I don't know.
I kind of feel like you need to be a type of person to go to Saudi Arabia in a way, kind of selfish a little bit. And it's not like he needs the money, does he? Like, he's clearly been paid mega bucks since he's been at United. I can see him. Could he not go back to Spain, do you think?
The question is where. So he's turned down a United contract. So
Yeah.
maybe playing hardball to get more money, but it's a dangerous place given the pressure on him. I know United are linked to Raya, Onana, and Diogo Costa, and they have been linked to Soma as well, who I think will leave Bayern at some point this summer. So my feeling with him is he's a bust either way, because he either gets phased out during the season or next season. So, it depends how short term or long term you look at it. That you got the Saudi being a risk, but as you say, I don't think he goes there.
No,
could he? Spain seems the most obvious move, but the problem you have with that is where does he go? Because he's not replacing Ter Stegen at Barcelona. He's not replacing Courtois at Real Madrid. And do you know how much his wages were? 2019 in
like
contract.
300 grand in it. It's something stupid.
375 grand he agreed in 2019, which is the highest, not only highest keeper, but also the highest in the whole league. And even now, that's a ridiculous contract.
That's absolutely mad. Could it be feasible that whoever you get in to replace him, they do a swap deal somehow? Like, I could see him going to not to Brentford, but I'm talking like Onana at Inter Milan. Like, I could see him playing.
So what would work in that scenario, and I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say Atletico Bilbao, which I believe is where he came from originally.
Madrid. Atletico Madrid, wasn't it?
Oh, it was in Madrid. I thought he started at Bilbao though. And I think Unai Simon could possibly come in the other. This is going to be my prediction. I mean, I cannot call this one at the minute, but Unai Simon to come across maybe in a swap deal and cash, and then him to go across there. The problem is they can't pay his wages because the way their Basque business works.
It's really hard, isn't it? Because like the only clubs that are gonna be able to afford him are the clubs that already have incredible goalkeepers. But then, if his
Saudi,
if his contract's running out though, like he doesn't have. If he wants to stay in Europe, he's going to have to probably accept at least 150 grand less than what he's on currently.
See, mate, it's a hard one, isn't it? Like we're going around in circles on it. The prediction, I can't tell you where he's going to go. The prediction from me is he's either going to go back to Spain or he may. I don't think he should, and I don't think he's his character, but he may take that Saudi money just because don't know who else can pay him the type of money he's going to be needing. Either way, I'm going to call him a bust. I wouldn't want to hold him in this position right now. What about you, John?
No, I definitely wouldn't want to hold him. I think the wages is a big issue, isn't it? That would maybe force his hand to go to Saudi Arabia. If he's, I don't know, it's tricky, isn't it? It's a very tricky one.
Yeah,
I bet you ends up just signing another deal at Man United.
and then they sign Bart Verbruggen, and Verbruggen takes over in like 2 seasons' time. Yeah. I mean, that would make sense. It would, but we'll see. Right, anyway, defender John, who you got for us?
Oh yes, I was not prepared for this.
So deep into De Gea, weren't you?
Yeah, so deep into De Gea. So it wouldn't be a podcast without me talking about an Everton player. So
there we go.
I'm going for my boy Yerry Mina. I'm really sad that he's leaving. He's kind of like a cult hero at Everton. He's a proper character. He's hilarious. Like all the sort of behind the scenes videos, he's always dancing and doing some random crap and trying to make a joke to the camera. And I've watched obviously every Everton game forever, and like he is such a shit house as well. And it's so enjoyable to watch. Like if I was a striker playing against him, would have been sent off about 10 times. Like he's constantly just like sticking his finger up your butt and like he's just hilarious to watch. And he's also a really, really good defender. Like when he plays for Everton, we're so much better. The problem he's had for a few years now is injury record is pretty bad. A lot of Everton players have quite bad injury records, so I'd probably need a new physio department like the rest of our departments at Everton. But he's a very good player. He's still only 28. He has left the club, so he's definitely going. He's getting linked with Turkey. He's getting linked with South American teams, which obviously is Colombian. So I think Colombia are covered as a league as well. So if he did want to go back to Colombia, I don't think he will at 28. It's the sort of thing he'd probably do in a few years' time. But I can still see him going back to play for a really good club in Spain, potentially. Obviously, he was from Barcelona. There's a sneaky feeling he's the sort of character that might go to Saudi Arabia. He's a little bit crazy. He's also one of our biggest earners at Everton. I think he was on like 120 grand, something like that. So for him to get a similar wage, he may need to go somewhere like that. But Turkey, I think, is where the strongest links are looking like at the moment. Fenerbahce, and obviously Turkey's a good league to have players in, because there's a few teams there that are real sort of. There's like 15 awful teams, 3 really, really good teams, and then like 2 decent teams. So you can get a lot of really good matchups for your players in Turkey.
He'd be a great hold at Fenerbahce. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, he'd be a great hold. The only issue is, I think, would be his injuries. Although the last season, he actually wasn't that injury prone. He just couldn't get in the team. Dyche just loved Michael Keane and Tarkowski so much, the ex-Burnley lads. But when he did come in, he was great. He scored a couple of really good goals, like really important goals for us, obviously. In terms of his scores, like, ignore these massive DMPs here, but like, historically, he's a pretty decent scorer. If you think most of these scorers are coming from Everton, like, if he actually went to a much better team, he could do really well. His AA game is really solid. Like, he's very rarely getting clean sheets with these scores. So
JD, is he gonna boom or bust then?
Wow,
or is it the same, business as usual?
I think it's a boom, personally. I love it. I think he's £3 for a limited at the moment and £40 for a rare. I think he's a bargain. His ceiling is high. He's a good player. He's attacking from corners. Got a lot of goals as well. I think he's a boom. Going to Turkey, Fenerbahce, I can see it happening.
Like it. I think he ends up back in Spain, personally, and I think he is a business as usual. He'll play. He'll do fairly well. He'll be a starter, but he'll get injured again.
Probably.
Hey, I hope I'm wrong, because I like him. So, speaking of injuries, Sergio Ramos. So Ramos is, again, I don't know what you think of Ramos. I think Ramos is like such a character. Like, I would hate him personally, I'm sure, unless he was potentially on my team, because he's an absolute animal. But he's also a very, very good defender.
Insane.
And
probably
has
like,
been over the years, isn't he?
I was going to say, like, he's a bit of a knob, isn't he? Like, he's got sent off about 50 times in his career. But actually, if you look at him, he's probably been top 3 defenders of the last 20 years.
Totally. And if you look at this, like, it's funny because I took my eye off the ball with him, because he had that bad injury when he went there, and he might even potentially retire at one point when they first got him. And then he's gone and actually started for PSG and been one of their main sort of, like, he's replaced Thiago Silva, who went to Chelsea, didn't he? Like, he's kind of taken that position onto himself, like a leader in the changing room, like smashing out hundreds. Like, he's a proper player, even at the age of 37. I think Ramos is still a great pickup for anyone. Where do I think he goes? I mean, PSG would actually, I think, would be happy to keep him and hold him. I've seen a few sort of rumours that potentially they wanted to, but it looks like he might go all the same. So where would he go? His hometown club is Sevilla. So potential that he decides to finish his top flight career in Sevilla. Man United were interested in him and linked to him as well. Do they need him? Because they've got like Varane as their kind of leader. They've been linked to all sorts of centre backs. Maybe he goes there. I mean, he's great on the ball, but I don't see that happening, because Ten Hag is like, he likes to be the boss. I think his personality is too strong for Ten Hag. PSG might keep him, or because of his age, he might go. And there's been strong links to Saudi, in particular the club that Cristiano Ronaldo plays for. Yeah. So I look at that and I go, right, he's old. He's got a history of injuries now, although last season's done, or this one's just done well. Cost 33 quid for a red. So he might be worth a dice roll. Flip him maybe at the start of the season if he gets a good transfer. I would say.
What about MLS? Is there any MLS links or?
Oh yeah, there was like some light talk about it at one point. And again, I could imagine him there. Like, it's a classic thing of MLS or Saudi, isn't it? Or you return home. So Sevilla would be his home. I'm going to say even at 33 quid, yeah, buy him and flip him or avoid. So I'm going to call him a bust just because I think that wherever he goes, I don't think he's going to do better than this current season he's had at PSG. So I think it's decline whatever. And I think you're absorbing quite a bit of risk through picking him up just because of his age and where he's likely to go.
But he is, one thing I would say is he is priced accordingly. Like at £30,
fair.
At £30, like you could take a gamble on that. And if he was to join a club that was still covered, like you'd easily double your money there. And if you didn't want to even sell, you'd have a great season from, probably someone who's going to get green scores all year.
It's a very good point. I mean, probably actually it depends on your gallery size, doesn't it? And your wallet. So, someone like me who is building back up and therefore 30 quid can get me a player that starts and I don't have to try and lose 30 quid or shuffle around.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. But like someone, if you've got a gallery your size, for instance, it makes a difference. 33 quid's a good little pickup, as you say, because he could hit green scores all next year. Or if he ends up in Saudi, you go, oh, well, I've lost 30 quid. I'll earn that back in the next cap 240.
And even if he does get a Saudi, he's probably still worth like 15 quid. Sergio Ramos. I mean, yeah, it's weird.
He's a collectible, wasn't he, to a point? Yeah.
Also, whilst we're here, like, what do we think of Saudi? Like, would you reckon it's going to get covered at some point?
I mean, it could be, couldn't it? Because they got the Opta scoring. I think it will get covered. I think because money talks, and therefore so rare a business, and they're shrewd, and Saudi could potentially help a lot of marketing, etc. as well, and get a whole new group or like market for them. So if I was so rare, I would be well up for Saudi. And it's not like the existing users would care. The existing users would be happy that suddenly Cristiano is active again, and then all these players moving across, it reduces the risk. So
I'd love it. Yeah. I'd love it if Saudi Arabia came onto the game. Like it would open up like so many red crosses to so many managers, and like it would really put a lot of money back into the game. Like, but for me, like we know that Opta scores them. We know this. Like, why are they not scoring it? Like, what is the reason? There must be some reason that they can't do it. They can't score them for me. Because this has been talked about.
I think they need to agree the license, don't they, the league?
Do they know? Because they don't agree the license with like China.
Oh, that's true. I suppose. So in theory, no, because that's only if they're selling the NFT cards, right?
Yeah, they don't sell the cards.
I don't know the ins and outs, but anyway, I'm gonna move us on, John, because we are ticking through and we still just on our midfielders.
Let's go.
John, who have you got in midfield for us?
So I'll keep this one short, mainly because I don't know a huge amount about this guy. But yeah, my midfielder is Daichi Kamada. He's at Eintracht Frankfurt at the moment. His contract's up. He's said he's not staying. He's getting linked with a lot of big teams. I think I saw a few links with AC Milan, Dortmund as well. Maybe to sort of partly replace Bellingham might be an option for them. Obviously now Bellingham's left. It's been linked to a few sort of lesser teams like Sociedad, who I think are still a very good team. I think they'll be in Europe next season. I've watched a little bit of him from when I watched Eintracht Frankfurt when they were in Europe last season. I think he's a key player for Japan as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, his scores historically have been very good at Frankfurt. Frankfurt obviously aren't like a great team of Germany. So for him to be scoring this well at an average team shows that if he was to move to a much better team, that it could be a real win for him. And he's still only £10 for limited. You're looking at about 120 for a rare. For someone who could be a stud player, I think is a pretty good shout.
Like it, mate. Yeah. I think I've heard a lot of rumours around him, and my gut feeling is he goes to AC Milan, and therefore scores well. I would say, I mean, he's scoring well right now, so I would go with business as usual, but on the lower end of the spectrum, because how much better can he get?
And also, like, the amount of big teams he's getting linked with, you'd imagine his place isn't as nailed in a bigger team, probably.
No.
By the looks of the scoring and historically at Eintracht, he's one of their key players, so he's probably always playing for them.
I wouldn't want to own him right now. Let's put it that way. If he was peaking out, I'd sell him right now before waiting for that transfer.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. So I have got for you who I'd argue say was Premier League midfielder of the year this season to a point. I mean, it's probably a bit over the top, but certainly taking that sort of last sort of tertial of the Premier League, he was brilliant in terms of like impact of Man City, getting the goals at the important times and just being like, a bit of an unsung hero this season. Really came to the fore. So Ilkay Gundogan, his contract is ending. He has been heavily linked with multiple moves. So the latest one, or the strongest one at the minute, is Arsenal, which I just can't see happening. I think that's just because of the Arteta link, isn't it? Like, and of course he'd love to have him, but I just don't see it. He was linked to Saudi, of course, not going to happen in my opinion. And he's actually come out and said no to Saudi, as well as, or it's rumored anyway, said no to Saudi and Dortmund as well, about like a return back to Dortmund. So the two front runners at the minute are Arsenal and Barca. And as I say, I think the Arsenal rumours are rubbish, or again, links to Arteta and Man City. So I'm going to say he's going to either go to Barcelona. If he goes there, how the hell are they going to afford that? So is Frankie de Jong going to go again, for instance, or be linked back out? Or there may be a plan in place to free up capital to get him at Barca, or he will stay at Man City. Because I know Pep doesn't want to lose him.
Yeah, Pep's desperate to keep him, isn't he?
Yeah, but again, my gut feeling with this, a bit like before, is if Gundogan wanted to stay, was planning on staying, why has it got this far? Why does Pep need to say he really wants him to stay? It's like someone at work going, they're going to go to move to a new job, and then the manager trying to talk them out of it. Like, I think
for me,
it'd be money that will make his mind up.
Yeah, for me, like, I think probably the reason that he would have been delaying was for the Champions League final and thinking, if we don't win, I'll try it another season and see if I can really bring this trophy home to City. I think they've won it, right? Like,
yeah.
If you're ever going to leave, he's won like 4 leagues or whatever it is, 5 leagues, like all the trophies there is to win. He's now finally won the Champions League with City. Like, I think he's got to leave, isn't he?
It's a good time, yeah. It is a good time.
to leave. He's 32. Like, he's probably want to give it a go somewhere else.
And I think I think I can just see him at Barcelona in midfield, and I can see him being the star. Because at Man City, it's hard to be a star when you've got, De Bruyne, Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, like all of them. They're all stars, aren't they? And that's why Man City have them, because they kind of all click in, and the egos don't take over. But
yeah,
I think at Barca, he goes in, he slots straight in, he replaces. He's not a direct replacement in that sense, but replaces Busquets, for instance, and I can just see him being a star. So he's actually, I'm going to have him as a boom, because you don't have to deal with Pep Roulette with him leaving, and he plays every game as long as he stays injury free. And I think he's going to Barcelona. So yeah, nice. Ilkay Gundogan is a boom from me. Do you agree?
No, I think he's got to be a boom. He's a quality player. Obviously, scored some of the 2 goals against Everton, I think, in that game. We watched on the way back from Man United. One of them, which was insane, like a little soft knee up and then a little like, weird like overhead kick. He's a quality player. Like, he's way too good to sort of end up going to Turkey or something like that.
No way. 180 is fair as well, isn't it? Price wise for someone of that quality, I'd say like maybe ideally 120 up to maybe 200 quid. You're happy to pay?
Yeah. I think he's a boom.
Probably more than that, 215 when he goes across. But yeah, there you go. Up front, mate, who have you got as a striker?
So I've gone for another bloke that I own, so apologies. But it's Jonathan Bamba. He's been at Lille for a few years now. He said he wants to try something new, so he's not signed a new contract. He's guaranteed to be leaving, unless that's some sort of ploy to get his wages doubled at Lille. I don't know, but Lille look to be looking at new signings being brought in to cover his place. So he seems to be on his way. He's someone I won as a prize a year ago, roughly, and he's a real solid scorer. If you look at his scores here, historically a very, very good scorer in a good Lille team. His main links at the moment are to Turkey. I haven't seen anything linked to Saudi Arabia on my sort of look on Twitter, etc. Mostly seems to be Turkey. I do like a good Turkish link to Fenerbahce or Galatasaray. So yeah,
he's also linked to Fiorentina, mate. I only know that because I follow Fiorentina.
Oh, really? Okay, because I know Jonathan Okone's there, isn't he? Who used to be at Lille as well. So maybe they've had a little WhatsApp. But yeah, I think he's only 27, so he can definitely still go somewhere and have a really good few years there. He's a striker, obviously, as well, and you can still get him for like 90 quid. And a good striker for like less than sort of 90 quid is gold dust, really. I think you look at his scores there on the left, he's a solid scorer. But yeah, he's my forward.
Nice. And did you say you're booming on him?
Oh yeah, sorry. So, well, to be honest, my whole five are a boom. I was picking in the aspects of who would I want. So I think he's a boom personally. I think he's going to be a solid, if not a more solid scorer at his next club.
Nice. And I would pitch him as business as usual because I think he already is a solid scorer, and therefore, I think as to your point, any red striker I see, a rare striker under 100 quid that is decent and starts every game almost, for me is value. So he's not only his value, I think he's fairly low risk in terms of where he goes, and I think he'll give you similar outputs to what he's already doing. So business as usual, but that's a good thing in my book with him.
Yeah.
I'm going for Marcus Thuram, so French international, broke into the squads, was there at the World Cup. Borussia Mönchengladbach, he is leaving this summer. It's been pretty sort of vocal and clear about that. 205 quid for a red. Again, I think that's not bad for his level of quality. He has had some serious injuries, which is why he hasn't moved already. So something to consider. His main links are PSG and the two Milan clubs. So problem with Milan, as in AC, is they don't have a lot of cash to spend typically, so on wages. So they're always limited to a point, which we'll come to on my next player. I've got a feel, Inter are the front runners at the minute. I've got a feeling he'll end up at PSG, just because obviously the France links, and I can just see him kind of with his pace and his direct way of playing as well. I can just see him coming in and just doing well. So I'm going to have him down as a boom, because if he goes to PSG, I think he becomes an important player in that sort of front three system, which I think they'll play, and they'll improve with better players around him. So yeah, Thuram even at current price 205, I think he is a boom and a good one to pick up.
Solid. Yeah, nice. I like it. Good player.
Who have we got next, JD?
So my sort of extra position, I don't usually like to go for two defenders in an SO5 team, but I have gone for a defender in this case. I've gone for the lesser-known forgotten man, Matt Doherty. Obviously, he had a bit of a weird, last-minute transfer. I think it was January last year. What was it?
Yeah, it was. That was random, wasn't it?
It was literally last second. It was just right, Matt Doherty's joined Atletico Madrid. So he didn't do very well at Atletico Madrid. Couldn't really get in the team. Was sporadic at Tottenham. I think he had a bit of an injury at one point, but Tottenham weren't a particularly good team the last couple of years, I don't think, to be a part of. But he is a good scorer when he does play. He's quite peaky. He's nailed for Ireland. He always plays for them. I think at 31, he is worth a risk at sort of £45 for rare, although there is only 11 rare cards minted of him at the moment, so you'd be hard pushed to get one at the moment. But I think he's definitely a free agent. He's getting linked to teams he's got links to Osasuna. Very strong links to Osasuna. They're in Europe next season as well. So They're going to have a lot of games, a lot of midweek games. I don't know why he's got a sudden obsession with Spain. Does he speak Spanish? I don't know, but
I have no idea. It's bizarre.
Yeah, he's like the least Spanish-looking player I've ever seen. But I could also see him, joining a Premier League club again, or even a very good Championship team. But I could see him joining someone like West Ham or something like that.
Yeah, Notts Forest. He's got something like that kind of thing about him, hasn't he?
I know West Ham have got Kufal, but I think he's pushing on a bit.
His contract goes, mate. He's off this summer.
Oh, there we go. So you could see him going back there. Obviously he's been in London with Tottenham for a couple of years. I can't on his SO5 scores. Unfortunately, I can't go back as far as when he was at Wolves, but I know how good he was at Wolves. Like, he was a very good attacking fullback. But yeah, I get him in. I think he's worth the risk with those peak scores at that value.
Yeah, mate, I'd agree with that. I think, and likewise, I think he goes. I think a low end Prem team, like as I said, a Forest type of team would be my prediction.
Yeah.
And I think he'll do all right. We know he can do all right in the Prem, don't we? So I think he'll do all right. Could be a boomer, could be a business as usual kind of guy. But either way, for his price, it's not bad.
Nice.
My last chap plays for your favourite team, or did play for your favourite team, John. So Bobby, Super Bobby, who arguably is one of the most underrated number 9s in the last, how long? He has been brilliant for Liverpool and was part of that that famous front three. Available for 143 for a red at the minute, which is below the recent sale prices. I'd say that's very cheap. He's 31, and the thing that sticks out to me is like, this is kind of his, coming to the end of his Liverpool career, being fizzled out. Liverpool sign all these new strikers, blah blah blah. He got 11 goals and 4 assists in 25 games. That's pretty bloody good, isn't it? In my book. I mean,
someone that barely played, like, that's solid.
yeah. So, and he's 31. So I don't think Bobby is as finished as some people may think he is. I mean, Liverpool fans may know more watching him week in, week out. Maybe he's lost a bit of edge. But I actually have gone.
I was just going to say, his game's never been based around pace, is it? So I think, like, if your game is based around pace and you get to a certain age, then it kind of does whittle away. But he's always, I hate to give Liverpool players compliments, but his quality has always been his vision and his sort of link up play, and I don't think that's going to go at 31. Yeah. I mean, we're still got great football vision, and we're 30, 33,
34, mate. So, in a dream.
Yeah. No, he's obviously a good player. He's a bell end, because he plays for Liverpool, but
he's a good player, and I think I actually, again, 143 I think is a steal. He's going to go. I'm pretty confident. He's been linked to Saudi, obviously, but I'm pretty confident he's going to go to Serie A, which will suit him, I think, at this point in his career, and also his style. It's been linked to both Milan's Roma and Juve as the main landing point. Juve, I could see him there if they get rid of Vlahovic, which is very possible. Roma, Tammy Abraham's got like a long-term injury. Could end up there. Don't know if you want to hang out with Jose Mourinho. That is if Jose stays. 2 Milan clubs, as I said, AC are limited on cash funds. I could imagine him there because they took Giroud, didn't they? And he's done really well, again, when he seemed like in his twilight. So I think he could do well at AC, or Inter Milan is probably or possibly more likely because of money, because they lost Checo, they haven't lost him yet, but Lukaku may or may not be there. So I'm going to have Bobby as a boom because I think he's still got it, and I think at 143 that is value.
Solid, yeah, that is good value.
Happy with that?
Yeah, I think that I think that is good value, and I didn't realize he was only 31. I thought he was older than that. So yeah, he definitely could fit in at a very good European club, and his next move for sure.
There you go, mate. So I actually thought not having Ricky the Mamba here tonight would mean that we were quicker than normal, but it turns out we obviously just like to chat. So I put a little post out on Twitter sort of about a half hour before we started, just seeing if anyone had any players we want to cover. The intent was to go like a bit deeper on this because, because we had the request, but I'm wary on time as well. So what we'll do is I'll rattle through them just because we've had the requests in. But yeah, apologies apologies slightly for not going into too much depth on these. So the first suggestions we had was from a guy called Carl, so double A. So I guess it's a bit like, have you seen The Walking Dead, where he's like, right, Carl? So anyway,
might be him.
Carl has asked for Guardiola. So what do we think of Guardiola, as in the Leipzig defender who also started for Croatia, who, in my opinion, is one of the hottest defenders, as in play, not looks.
He is pretty hot, to be fair.
It's true. It's true. But in the world right now, potentially. So the question was, Carl wondered and thought he might stay at Leipzig. I don't think that's going to be the case. What about you, John? Do you think there's any chance he stays there?
No, I mean, Leipzig are historically a club that like to buy and then sell for profit. Like Dortmund, for example. Mainly players in Germany do get snapped up by Munich. They all sort of end up there, usually. But yeah, I could see him joining Man City. I think it's been linked a little bit. He's a quality player. I've seen quite a bit of him. All I ever can think about with him is him getting skinned by Lionel Messi in the World Cup, though.
Yeah, oh my God. He absolutely destroyed him, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's almost like a compliment to get skinned by Lionel Messi. It's kind of like...
Everyone gets skinned by Messi.
Everyone gets skinned by Lionel Messi. But no, he's a quality player. How old is he? 21? Yeah, he's a
young boy.
Look at that go faster stripe in his eyebrow as well. Like he means business.
I'm a big fan. I think he's,
Love Island.
The only thing I'd say with him, right, if we're doing boom or bust, is he's already doing pretty well historically in Leipzig. Obviously, Leipzig aren't as good as. So where do I think he'll go? I think he's going to Bayern Munich or Man City. I'm pretty confident. But his scores are already strong at Leipzig. If he goes to Man City or Bayern and plays every single week, then yes, you argue that he's booming. Will that actually happen? At Bayern, yes, he will, I think. At Man City, Pep Roulette comes into play. They've got Akanji. They've got who's the other centre back at the minute? Stones obviously moved into centre mid. Diaz.
Diaz.
Yeah, I'm just going to let Akanji out. Akanji and Diaz are class. Ake is actually very good in his own right. Yeah. So it feels like a bit of risk. I see him more at Bayern. So Bayern's going to be my shout, even though Man City are getting stuck into him. But again, Pep's always got plans. He seems to keep everyone happy.
Could he go somewhere like Real Madrid or something? Like, I
mean, he could go anywhere. Let's be honest.
They've got what's his name, haven't they, from Brazil? I've forgotten his name now. And they've got Rudiger. They've got some good centre backs there. They've got David Alaba, obviously, but he's quite injury prone. I'm just thinking whether they'll, they might make a move for him. The transfer, I can see them having a little opening at centre back.
But anyway, John, I've lied again, because after apologising that we wouldn't spend too long on him, we're now deep diving into Guardiola. So I'm going to move us on. I'm going to be quicker. so next one up was I always get his first name wrong. It's like Cayman Kelleher. Kelleher, who is the backup at Liverpool. Kind of the question was, does he stay? Does he go? I think it feels pretty clear that he's going. He can't stay in the shadows of. In fact, that was quoted by one of the Brighton guys this week, of Alisson the whole time. Brighton, Brentford, and Tottenham are kind of the biggest interests. Part of me wonders if he could go. I think we were chatting about this off air earlier, on loan to either to one of those clubs or and then come back eventually and replace Alisson. But Alisson's got a long time left in him, probably. So would boom or bust or stay the same? I think he's going to be a boom, because I think he's going to move. If he goes to Brighton, Brentford, or Tottenham are the most obvious one that need a keeper. I don't know if he's that good though. So I don't know.
From my watching of him, he's very good on the ball. I think the way keepers are going these days, they've got to be actual good footballers as well. He's clearly a very good footballer. Tottenham will definitely be purchasing a goalkeeper this summer, so you can see them going in for him potentially. I think he'll leave personally.
Yeah, I think he leaves. So I mean, not a bad pickup, but you're not getting him cheap either, are you? He's like 250 quid. So there's still a slight gamble there for a lot of money. Kelleher. On to the next man. We're going to Fred. So Fred, who has been linked to Fulham, seems to be the main link. I think he leaves Man United because just to make room for the other signings. Because there's been a lot of talk about United upgrading their midfield, which again we watched at the end of the season. Casemiro seems like Man United quality. Eriksen, I thought was at the start, but he seemed to like fizzle out as the season went. If they're going to get big players in, they need to make space. Fred and McTominay seem the two obvious ones that they could get out. Fulham actually seems like a good fit to me. I can actually see it happening because João Palhinha is going to be moving on, potentially West Ham. I think he could actually go to a better club than West Ham, dare I say it. So Fred, for me, will end up being a move and potentially a boomer if he moves to Fulham and starts next week. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen too many rumours about him, to be honest. But I think he's a decent player, and he's not getting many minutes, is he, for United? So I can definitely see him leaving. I can see him going abroad, to be fair. Could you see him going to somewhere like Italy or something like that? I could see his game being suited quite well. But I haven't seen any rumours at all personally. But yeah, he'd probably do well at West Ham, Fulham. He'd probably do well at Everton, to be honest. I'd take him there. Get him in.
Could do him, to be honest, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So that was Carl's suggestions. We also had Shakhtar Donuts, who I'm presuming he's a Shakhtar fan. He's quite vocal on the old pages at the minute, isn't he?
He's an Everton fan.
Bit of a legend. Oh, is he Everton?
Yeah, he's Everton.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Missed that completely. God, well, no wonder he's all over the page then with your your Everton chat. So he was actually asking us about the goalkeepers. So he's interested in goalkeepers. He's got quite a few in. Wants to know kind of what our thinking was on who would stay, who would go. Probably trying to find who his starting keeper is potentially. I don't know what the rest of his gallery looks like. First one was Nubel. So Alexander Nubel, who has been on loan at Monaco for the season, went there from Bayern Munich. He was massively talked up when he was a bit younger, went to Bayern. Obviously wasn't getting his team get ahead of Neuer, went on loan. Neuer gets injured. Obviously we know what happened after that. And Nubel spoke out against Bayern while he's been away as well. So he's kind of semi-severed his bridges. He took a bit of risk doing that because he's then gone to Monaco. And he's obviously played every game, but he hasn't been particularly good. I don't think, from what I've read, the Monaco fans are that impressed by him, and there's no kind of clear agreement for him to come in and play. So he could end up getting left a little bit up shit creek. What do I think that means for him in this context is actually he's probably going to leave whatever. I can't see him going back to Bayern. And even if he doesn't sign for Monaco, because he wouldn't sign for Monaco and then be a backup, he'll go somewhere to play. So I would say he is a boom or you could class it as business as usual. Either way, I think he plays next season. So if I owned the Nubel already, I wouldn't be looking to flip him or sell him. I'd hold him fairly-ish confident that he's going to end up being a starting keeper next season. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I obviously know of him. I don't think Monaco is the nicest crowds to play for, to be honest. So maybe he just didn't fit Monaco. I don't know. And he's like you say, he's burnt his bridges with Bayern. And is his contract up with Bayern?
I don't think his contract's up. No, it's not. I'm pretty confident it's not up. It's just
you could see him go back to Germany, couldn't you, and playing for a sort of semi-decent German team. It wouldn't be one of the best teams like Dortmund or Leipzig, but you could definitely see him playing for a good team in Germany for sure. And he's still only 26, so
he was probably overrated too soon, and he's found himself in a situation, but good enough to play for like mid to lower tier teams. Yeah. I'd hold Nubel, although he's quite high priced as he is. Didillon, it was the other keeper he came up with. So he went on loan to Monaco actually this season from Cercle Bruges. He ended up kind of back. He was there as backup to Nubel, which may have been a sign of lack of confidence at times, or maybe they just needed the body. Could he end up at Monaco if Nubel isn't? Potentially, because I know there's Cercle Bruges and and Monaco have like you have links between clubs, so they do have a link in that sense. So you never know. But again, is he good enough? No. If Nubel's not good enough, De Leon isn't good enough. So he probably goes back to Circle, and then potentially plays there. I can't remember who the starting keeper there is at the minute, to be honest. So I wouldn't want to advise on that one. Would I hold him? I would probably hold him, because if he goes back to Circle, he's probably good enough if Monaco wanted to take the gamble on him across there. And if they sell him on, he's played historically, so worth rolling the dice, but can't be 100% on that one. John?
I mean, much the same as you there, mate, to be honest. Like, it's a tough call. I'm sure he's priced accordingly if you're unsure. But, like, he's definitely played a few minutes in goal, and he's young as well, isn't he, right? So I'd definitely be holding him. It's difficult, isn't it, when the season's like this, like in the transfer window. Like, it's so difficult to sell goalkeepers, because you just know that if they get that perfect move, they're worth so much money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, both Nubel and De Leon as well. Like, you're selling them now, knowing that if they get the gig, you're missing out on money. And again, they're young enough to make that. So yeah, I think they're both. If you can hold them, hold them. I'm imagining Shakhtar Donetsk, again, I haven't looked at his gallery, maybe in a position where he's like, right, I need to have someone who's nailed on, rather than a group that are potentially on the cusp. And then he did pitch two other keepers to us, so Gurbic and Grill. So Grill, I'm not going to make any comment on, just because I don't know enough about him. So it'd just be kind of guesswork and desk research. You know much about Lennart Grill?
No, he's at the club that I've got the starting keeper for.
He went to Union Berlin.
Union Berlin, that's right. So I think he's just signed a new contract with them. He's a promising young player. I think he's under 23. He came in for Frederick Ronov, who's my keeper that I have there. He came in for him when he was injured a couple of times, and I think did really well. I think Frederick Renov's staying though, and is pretty nailed. So
yeah, he's decent enough keeper.
He's decent. He's obviously just signed a new contract at Union, so he's clearly been given assurances he's part of the future. I'm not sure necessarily whether that future is going to be next season, or whether maybe he'll get the cups next year. And I think they've made Europe actually, so potentially he could get a little go in Europe. But yeah, he's someone I would hold if I had the gallery to sort of be able to hold a keeper for a couple of years. But if you're looking for a keeper right now, it's probably not your guy.
Yeah, I'm less. Well, I couldn't comment on him because I don't know him well enough. But just listening to that, I'd be less confident on holding him than Nubel and De Leon. And then Gurbic, who's the other one. So obviously he's filled in at times of injury for Atletico for. Christ, one of the best keepers in the world, who's now eluding me. Black, that's it. So he's obviously never going to oust him as number one, but he's decent enough. So yes, he could move on and be a starting keeper elsewhere, because when he's played, he showed he's decent enough, but just not for that level. So another one, it's probably frustrating for Shakhtar Donetsk to hear this, but another one of those where I'd go, if you can afford to hold him, hold him, and at some point while you're holding him, he's going to be a starting keeper. But if you have no other keepers and you need to make sure you got a keeper in there and want to compound it, maybe take a hit on a few of these guys. And if I was going to do that, then I'd probably take my hit on Grill and Gurbic as a duo. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know a huge amount about Gurbic, but one thing I would say is that keepers are just a massive roll of the dice. And if I was to hold these type of keepers where you're not quite sure, I'd always sort of get in an old keeper that's decent value to sort of have in your gallery that you know is going to start, a sort of 35-year-old keeper. Someone like the Sporting Lisbon keeper, maybe. Not Neto, I've forgotten his name now. God, my memory is awful. But
Adnan, isn't it?
Adnan, that's it. Adnan. Yeah. Someone like him who's pretty nailed, I'm pretty sure, but he is ancient.
He has some years, isn't he? Yeah.
He's ancient, so you probably got him. You'll probably buy him for the same value as holding another player who's you're not sure of. You could probably get him for sort of £300. That's what I'd always do if I was to sort of hold. At 27, though, Gurbic is, a very decent player, a decent future.
They're decent. All of them are actually decent pickups, aren't they? It's more about do you need someone that can play right now? And if that's the question, then you got to go right. Well, actually, I can make more money or get more play out.
He's never going to play.
Rid of them.
Never going to play in Cinema Block, is he? So
exactly. So then moving on, just one final kind of request that we had come through. Alberto Moliero. So this guy is Pedri's mate. So Pedri was from Las Palmas as well, and he's been linked to Barcelona, probably partly because of the whole Pedri thing. And he was actually at the training ground the other day, but again, seeing his mate, or so everyone says. He's been hyped up a little bit towards the end of the season. He's a very good player or a good prospect. Played 40 games for Las Palmas, so he's, his price probably reflects it, right? So he's nearly 100 quid. He's not the biggest scorer. Like his L15 is 39, so you're not picking him up for his scores. And if he gets his move to Barcelona as linked, then you're not, in my opinion, he's not starting there. He's probably then going to go back out on loan. So what would I do with him? I would, if I held him already, I'd keep holding him just because of his age and because I think whatever happens with him, if he moves, he gets loaned back out and he'll play. I just can't see it. It's a waste to sit him on the bench. So I think he's worth holding. And even if you take a hit at 90 of a red, it hurts. But again, you've got a player for the future. But again, if you're going for outputs on Sorare score wise, how good is he going to be? He's shown he can hit peaks, but equally he hits pretty average scores as well, around the 40 mark. John, any thoughts?
I mean, I hadn't heard of him until about an hour ago when you brought him up. So two things I would say is he's in contract until the 1st of July 2028. That's mad. So he's got a 6-year contract with them. So they clearly rate him. And the other thing I would say is he spends too much time doing his eyebrows.
That's outrageous, isn't it?
My missus would be proud of those eyebrows. But anyway, I don't know much about him. He's obviously really young, and seeing links to Barcelona is obviously makes your mouth water a little bit. But yeah, I don't know much about him, so I'm not going to go and advise anything.
Fair play. And that question came from Sorare. So like so rare, but SORER. Sorare. So thank you to Sorare, Shakhtar Donuts, and Carl for your questions, and hopefully we've helped with a little bit of direction. But as said, it's transfer season, so anything could happen. So coming to the final section of the pod today, John, I'm going to pass the mic to you, and you're going to take over with the spinny wheel, because Tuesday's session it didn't happen because Rick was away and you were busy smashing in 6 goals.
That's it. So unfortunately we weren't able to do the Tuesday recap of the weekend and how the Beat the Boys League went, but just going to do a little overview now and a little spinny prize wheel. So let's go back a game week to 379. As you know, if you finished above all 3 of us, you would be entered into the prize wheel to win one of our cards. We had 9 people finish above us this last week. Sorare Mama being the highest of us all, with hitting a nice 400 mark there with 402. I think I was in 27th with 335, and Jesse, you were in 33rd, I think. So actually a decent effort, but still last out of the 3 of us. So that.
Don't know if I've told you, but MLS is my specialty.
Oh, is it not? Oh, okay, fine. What is your specialty?
No, it is my specialty.
Oh, it is your specialty.
Yeah. I think didn't Jose Mourinho once say that Wenger was a specialist in failure? I think I might be a specialist in beat the boys failure at the minute.
I think it's fair to say yes. Anyway, so yeah, nine people finished above us that week. Let's look at their teams from the top. So we got a lovely bit of crew here. We got Zelarayan with captain performance here. I don't know if you've seen his goal. From
beauty goal, isn't it?
93rd minute, or whatever it was, from halfway line. Absolutely insane. He's got Cucho as well, Barraza, Hector Herrera, Kai Wagner, the ever reliable Kai Wagner. So yeah, that's a very solid effort. We'll just go through the top 3 here. Andrew Vitti in second place. Carl's Gill, quality. 99 as captain. Cucho Hernandez again. Ryan Gould scored late on, I think. And Bingham and Andrade doing the goods as well. Noticeably, they came 14th and 41st overall out of the entire world as well. So not only have they won in our league, they've also won in real life. In third place was this team as well. Carl Gill again, Berkey, Kai Wagner. So much the same players. These 9 people here, down to Mookie, have gone on to the spinny wheel of joy. And let's see who wins.
Oh, that's close. Which one is it?
DX Hugs.
DX Hugs.
The DX Hugs, you came 6th that week with 411. You have won this week in our league, and this is the prize wheel. So we got a Zach McGraw, we have a Alexander Schopf, and a Tornado bundle up to the value of £5. Let's see
what's in that Tornado bundle. Come on.
Who knows? Let's have a look then. Oh, it's a Zach McGraw.
Zach McGraw's a decent centre back, to be fair.
Decent little centre back. There we go. Yeah. So congratulations. Get in contact with us. You can DM the account or DM any 3 of us as well. We'll get in contact and send you a gift. And interestingly enough, whilst we're here, the person who won last week also hasn't claimed their Abubakar from me yet. So if you were on the wheel last week, please do get in contact because you may have won a prize.
There you go.
There we go.
Thank you very much, JD. There is the spinny wheel of happiness. So enjoy your prizes. I think that's pretty much it for today, isn't it?
Pretty much. All we would say is please do like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, please. We are old, aren't we? We're old and we need your validation.
We need validation. And as we always say, it makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside. So
thank you for joining us, everyone. We will be back next week as usual. And we should have the old Mamba with us as well, all being well. See you then. Up the Thursday Club.
Up the toffees.
Up the toffees.